pH curves. This is when you take a known amount of an acid or an alkali, and that's strong or weak. Let's go with acid in this one. And we add, using a burette, a controlled volume of the opposite alkali, in this case, strong or weak again. The keys to this, and this is the CPAC that you'll have just completed. The key to this is initially, as you're adding the volume of alkali, in this case, in centimetres cubed, the pH is monitored and measured, and initially you can add it fairly quickly. You can add it 2 centimetres cubed at a time until you get towards the end point, and that's when the indicator changes, or in this case you see a rapid change in pH. So in this case, because we're starting with a strong acid and we're going to titrate it against a strong alkali, the curve is going to look something like this. It's going to start off at a strong acid, pH of roughly 1, and we're going to see very, very little change, if any, in the pH. But as we get towards the end point, you will see a vast difference in the pH. Now, by the time we get to this point here, roughly, when we get towards the end point, we start adding it considerably more slowly, at roughly 0.2 centimetres cubed at a time. And again, add it, measure the pH, and then we eventually plot the results. And what we end up with is probably something, a curve that looks like this. So this is what we typically call pH curves. What you need to be able to do is remember and plot all the different possible combinations of strong acid to strong base, weak acid to strong base, weak acid to weak base, and all the other possible combinations. So what you end up with, if you plotted all of them onto one graph, you'd probably end up with a weak acid being titrated against a strong base, would look like this one. A weak acid against a weak base would look like this one. Okay, not very clear at all. If we were to flip it around and start with a strong base, it would look like this. And if we titrated it against a strong acid, it would look like this. And you need to be able to plot all the different possible combinations.